All right, we got a special guest in studio with his perfect timing because this is the opening night of the college basketball season, and we have our college basketball and pro basketball guru, Rashad Phillips. He's a basketball analyst.
From the D.
The voice of Sports Talk 2319 is his YouTube show. Does a tremendous job from the draft all the way through the season. He knows basketball as well as anybody out there, so it's great to have him in studio. Rashad, and welcome to the Odd Couple, man.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, too.
And I'm going to sit here and gloat a little bit and feel like –
because don't take any credit.
No, I'm not taking credit for it. I'm just saying.
I'm just going to slow you down before you even go there.
It's not even just the basketball part, right? Because he was a hell of a basketball player at UAD, and I watched him high school and college, I saw that.
Was it Baby Iverson they called you?
Know?
Was that the nickname?
Every now and then they would say that. I would show some
back then.
And you had the cornrows.
I had the cornrows.
And
I had them first.
Did you have them before? Okay.
And they won. And they won in the tournament. They were beating teams in the tournament. They beat St. John's. They beat UCLA.
Yeah.
I know all this because I was there and I remember it. But I'm gonna say, even with his basketball play, I'm proud of what he's done as far as developing this new career in broadcasting and analyst work.
Yep.
And when we were in Detroit, I had him as my college basketball guy at Channel 7 in Detroit.
Yes.
So I'm happy to see where you went from there, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so much, Rob. Appreciate that.
For real.
No, it's great because a lot of these guys playing pro or Division I ball, they need to look at doing this.
Yes.
In case you don't make it to the NBA or overseas or whatever,
right?
Yes.
You know the game.
Yes.
But you got to be able to put in the work.
Right.
And this is why a lot of big time, and we're not here to just stroke you. I'm telling you, why a lot of big time former players fail at it and wind up getting cut from some of these things because they're not putting in the work. They don't really know who the player. You might know the game, but you got to know who the players are, and you need to put in. And you've done that.
Thank you. Yeah, you got to study. It's
It's like a job.
School. It's like going back to school. You got to really pay attention to the landscape of what's going on. You can't just show up to the studio
and act
like,
I played in the NBA Finals, so I know about basketball. Well, but you don't know who the player is.
And also because, and Rashad, I think you'll attest to this, the game is changing.
Oh, yes.
You can't come with 1989 analysis.
No.
I mean, obviously you know things from playing in the league and all that.
But the thing has changed,
But the game, a lot of the strategies have changed.
Even the coaching strategies changed. So you got to pay attention to the X and O's of the game now.
100%.
There's a lot going on now with the game of basketball.
All right, so Rashad, we said this is the opening night of the season, and you got the top 4 teams in the country.
Yeah.
Duke versus Kansas. They're playing right now.
Yeah.
It is 33-30 Duke right now at halftime. And then you got Michigan State, number 1, against Kentucky, number 2. So break down who's your top team in the nation right now, kind of break down these top squads.
I got Michigan State. I know they're the consensus number 1, but I think this is the season, this is the year that Michigan State actually wins.
How long you been saying that? Me and you've been fighting over Tom Izzo and Michigan State. Am I right? Have we not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is the year, though. I really do. And I've been watching Michigan State for a long time, and they've always come up short. Haven't really met the expectations. I think this is the season that Michigan State goes all the way. And one reason alone is because they have Cassius Winston.
I was going to say. That experience.
The 4-year experience at the point guard play is it's so valuable in today's game, especially the college level, because you got kids leaving so early, and this guy has stayed, and he's so cerebral. He has a magnetism about him that he's going to make everybody around him elevate their game. So I think this is the year for Michigan State.
The only time they ever won was because those players weren't good enough to leave Izzo on their junior year. And Mateen stayed, and Morris Peterson, and all that. So when they won the championship in 2000, he had an older bunch where everybody else, were missing people.
Absolutely.
And he was able to win the title.
Yes.
I said that he would never win again, Izzo. And
it'll be move to Mexico.
No, I didn't say all that. but because I thought at the time, the reason that I said that was Tom had bought into it was all about him and not the players. And he really thought it was about him. And when other coaches decided, one and dones and and adapting.
Adjusting. Yeah,
and
adjusting,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Now Tom has changed the last couple of years trying to go after guys like that. But for a long time he was stubborn. And I was like,
and
you
not
remember
going after the one and
No,
done.
Yeah.
because he was like, no, whatever. And if you remember when they played the national championship game, you remember in Detroit, what was that? Against North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Right? And North Carolina had 4 NBA players on the court, and they had none. That game was over in 5 minutes. Do you remember
lopsided.
that?
Yeah.
It was lopsided. And I said,
lopsided.
that's why you won't win until you decide that. So it'll be interesting. So you think they'll win the championship?
I think Michigan State wins it all this year, barring any type of injury,
Major injury.
because the point guard position is like the quarterback position. We don't pick Super Bowl winning teams unless they have a quarterback that can get them there. And I think Cassius Winston is the best point guard in America.
I want to ask you about, you mentioned Coach K and Duke playing. What did you make of Coach K basically saying he agreed that the players should be able to sell their likeness? And you saw the NCAA finally came along after they were bashing it. Remember, they threatened the state of California, you better not
Empty
do this.
threats.
Right, it was empty because they were like, what are you going to do to California?
Right.
I'll not allow all these California teams to play in the
Yeah, come on
NCAA.
now.
But when Coach K comes out in support, you knew what was going down. This is good for athletes.
I think this is fantastic. And with Coach K, what I've loved what Coach K has done over the years is what you said, Rob. He's adapted to the culture. He's not like that quote unquote old coach that's stuck in his way. He's adapted to the recruits, and that makes kids want to go
Absolutely
play for Duke. And that you're seeing like he's getting these top recruits year after year. And a lot of times with Duke, they're not even recruiting anymore because they're so strong. The nature of their school, kids are just signing there. They're not even like sitting in the front rooms of these parents' homes
begging
anymore.
people, right?
They're just like, hey, we'll send you a letter. We want you to come here. Here's an offer. And Coach K is he's done a great job of attracting kids by making those statements, and it's been traveling worldwide. So it's great.
Rashad, give us the real. I mean, you played at University of Detroit. I know that's not a Duke or North Carolina or anything like that, but you know guys that played there and are playing there now. Mm-hmm. What is it like for the basketball player at those schools? I mean, financially, when, look, there's no doubt when you show you're a great blue chip athlete from junior high on, you get perks. Nike's giving you stuff. Adidas is giving you, you do get perks.
Yeah.
But what is it like? Because I've heard stories of guys who, they're playing great ball and stuff, but they don't have money to go do a lot of regular things that college students do. What is it like for guys at that level? I know it varies, but
it's a lot of times it's a struggle. We look on TV and we see them playing and we figure like everything is great.
It's a packed house. They got on sneaks,
it's
everything
all great.
right.
But then once the cameras go off, these kids go back to their dorm rooms and they don't have money
They can't take a girl out to the movies,
all of that.
right?
You want to have a social life in college, all of those type of things. So those are the factors that why I agree that players should make there should be some type of compensation because of that. I was a college athlete, but luckily, I went to college at home, so I had my parents to be able to back me. My dad was able to, give me money every now and then, but every kid doesn't have, that background where they can turn to certain people. So I believe that they should be compensated because this is entertainment at the end of the day.
Right.
They're entertaining us. Like ESPN is on right now. Fox Sports
making billions.
Yeah.
Millions.
And we're watching these college kids play basketball. They're entertaining us. There should be some type of compensation. So I'm all for college athletes making some money playing a game.
There's always, the big story generally is there's some freshman phenom. Last year, of course, it was Zion. Every year there's a guy like that, it seems. Yeah. Who is the guy or a few of the guys, freshman-wise, that are going to take the nation by storm this year?
Well, first, I would probably say Anthony Edwards from Georgia. This kid is fantastic. He's about 6'5 and a half, 6'6". He's a tremendous athlete. He can score the ball. He can put it on the floor. He can defend.
Two guard?
He's a two guard.
Okay.
He reminds me a lot, and I don't want to I do these comparisons, and I usually don't put them out till April, but Anthony Edwards to me reminds me of Mitch Richmond. He's a lot like that. He's like the old
Now,
school.
Mitch wasn't crazy athletic.
Yeah, but he has that Mitch ability to score.
Okay.
No, he can just really put the ball in the basket.
Okay.
But these new kids, they can really they jump higher than than the 80s guys.
Right, athletic.
But Anthony Edwards reminds me a lot of Mitch Richmond. And you go back and look at Mitch Richmond, the dude can put the ball in the
was
basket.
nice,
He was always 4th or 5th in the NBA in scoring every year. He brings that to the table. And you have you got Wiseman over at Memphis. He's around 7 foot, agile, big, a rim runner, rim protector. He's going to be tremendous for Penny this year. Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky, you see him tonight matching up against Cassius Winston. So he's a terrific point guard. So there are some good one-and-dones, and obviously Cole Anthony from North Carolina that everybody's
Greg Anthony.
So everybody's raving about him. He's a terrific
How good
point
is he?
guard.
Anthony Edwards, they saying, is probably the top pick right now.
Anthony Edwards is the real deal. Ant-Man is the real deal.
I thought it was LaMelo everybody was talking about.
Yeah, LaMelo's great. He's but he's not in college.
How you like LaMelo?
I love him.
So would you take him one if you had to pick?
Absolutely.
See, that's what I wanted
Number
to hear.
one.
Absolutely.
LaMelo?
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
I would take LaMelo Ball number 1 and not lose any sleep.
Now, let me give you this little analysis. I want to see what you think.
Yeah.
Lonzo, and again, you're a little younger than me, but you might have fallen into this era. We were taught the pass is quicker than the dribble, right? So you, especially point guard, you push the ball up, right?
Yeah.
Give it up.
Yep.
Lonzo does that, to me, almost to a fault. In that there are times that's good, but there are other times you need to keep the dribble and make a play, especially in the NBA, off the pick and roll and stuff. When I've seen LaMelo play, he seems to have both. He will get it up when it's time to pass it ahead, but he'll also keep his dribble a lot longer than Lonzo, and therefore can make. Is that a fair analysis?
That's a great analogy, and I'm gonna tell you why LaMelo is a little different from Lonzo, and I don't like to compare them because they're siblings.
Right.
But there's a reason. My college teammate, Jermaine Jackson, is LaMelo Ball's mentor. He's in Australia with him right now. Jermaine Jackson was a terrific point guard.
No doubt.
He was a fantastic leader, and he plays a lot like Jermaine. And I played alongside Jermaine. Jermaine was a terrific defender. He was a fantastic passer. He made me better when I played with him. LaMelo has those same type of characteristics that JJ has. And when you're around your mentor, your trainer, you start to take on their characteristics.
Right.
LaMelo Ball reminds me of Steve Smith. Back in the 80s. Steve Smith was a terrific – he was a bigger guard.
Right. Oh, yeah.
He could score it. He can shoot it. He had flair. LaMelo Ball reminds me of him.
All right. Well, it's off to a hot start with our man Rashad Phillips.
And we got to talk to him about some of his predictions. About some players.
Stuff.
He nailed one big time, but there's a couple others we want to talk about.
But Rashad Phillips is our talent guru.
Yes.
And we'll give you props.
Trae Young?
You called it. You knew. Look,
you were all over it when most people didn't.
Little light-skinned
you know
point guard.
Oh,
knew
look
he
at
had
here we
hands,
go.
Could shoot. You knew that.
He was looking like he was looking in the mirror like, I remember that. Right?
So you got Trae Young right.
Yeah.
And then he hasn't disappointed.
Ja, where are you at on Ja? Where were you at on Ja?
I was
number
one. He was number one on my board.
He was number one.
He was number one on my board. He was before Zion.
Okay.
All right,
All right. We're going to get to Zion. We're going to get to Zion.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you Trae. I'm trying to butter you up.
Yeah,
Trae,
so we can go to
Ja, Luka Doncic. Did you have Luka Doncic the 10th best player in the draft or something like that?
Yeah, I didn't even have him 10. I had him like 14.
Oh.
And he's a baller.
That boy is bad.
Look.
He reminds me of a new age Larry Bird.
Luka Doncic can hoop.
He can hoop. He's an MVP candidate.
He can hoop. Period. Like, I was completely wrong there, and I'm okay with that. I actually spoke to Luka personally. I went in the locker room when they came to Orlando. Went in the locker room. Me and Rick Carlisle go way back. He was my draft coach when I went to Phoenix for the NBA draft camp.
Okay.
Rick Carlisle was like, "Go talk to him." I went in. I said, "Look."
Did he know what you had said about it?
Yeah, he knew.
Okay.
Yeah,
I bet he knew. Right.
He knew. And I told him, I'm like, "Look, man, I messed up on you, bro. Like you a baller." And he gave me that. And like I said, I love watching him play. I really do. Like, he's a tremendous player. I'm still with Trae Young.
Better than Luka?
I think Trae's still. I think Trae's
Luka
better.
was a rookie of the year, though.
Yeah, that's fine. And
I
that's
think
fine.
Luka. I have said
that's
that
fine.
Luka will be an MVP candidate in a few years. But he might, if they keep playing well, he's going to be an MVP candidate this year.
if he keep those numbers up, I mean, the numbers he has right now.
He's almost averaging triple-double. I don't know if
But Trae was leading
right.
the NBA in scoring before he turned his ankle, too.
Right.
So it's like Trae was averaging
like
36,
Trae.
and he was leading the NBA in scoring.
Right, but that was a couple games.
Well,
Let's
no.
act like-
It was
hold
3
on.
games.
Right,
3 games
no.
into the season.
You think he was going to? He was not going to average.
Why not?
36.
Why not? Why not?
He just wasn't.
Why not?
He just wasn't.
He led college in scoring.
He just wasn't.
He led college in
No.
scoring. He
Look,
led high school in scoring.
Trae is nasty. But Luka's better. Luka's better.
Nah, I'm riding with Trae all day. I still believe the point guard position is the most important position on the floor. Trae epitomizes that, but Luka is fantastic.
He's basically
I
the
actually
point
like
guard
both
himself.
of them. I actually like both of them. I want to get rid of the narrative that I like Trae, but I don't like Luka. Like I actually like both of them. It's like apples and oranges.
Well, but you know how it is. People, when you attach to somebody, then it's got to be an anti the other way.
I like Trae more. I'm riding with Trae all the way through.
Who was the other guy that we talked about earlier that he really liked? I just forgot from the draft.
Was it Cam Reddish?
Oh, Cam Reddish.
Yeah.
Now what's up with Cam? He's off to a slow start.
Yeah,
obviously.
but he had surgery in the summertime.
Okay, right.
He didn't get to train. So this is
he's behind.
He's a little behind. He's a little behind. This is like his. No, see,
I mean,
y'all always attacking my prospects.
He's shooting 20%.
Y'all always attacking my prospects.
I will give you this. You weren't the only person to say he was the best player in the draft. But right now, look, because
it's early.
It's not. But it wasn't like he lit up college.
He didn't
do well. I mean,
he did relatively well.
Did he not? He went in as the second best player on that team, right? RJ, Cam, Zion.
Yeah. That's how it was. That's how the
original.
Rankings, that's how the rankings played out. He didn't play relatively well, and I'm not going to give him an excuse. But right now, the NBA season is young, it's early. He didn't have any preseason really. He was hurt. He got the surgery in the summertime. Didn't get no summer league. So right now, he's just kind of getting in game shape, but just. He's one of those guys that you got to give him time. Year 2, year 3, year 4, he's going to be tremendous.
Slow down.
What?
If he hadn't done it by
9,
year 4, man.
How about in that draft? Who surprised you the most from the draft? Obviously, we haven't seen Zion yet,
right?
So we
get
can't
to that
really.
Next,
Hear you. But is there anybody in the draft so far? I know it's still early. It's only been a handful of games, but
Pascal from Villanova. Like second-round pick in Golden State.
Well, last night he
lit it up.
Yeah, 36 and
36. But
like
it's funny because I spoke to Coach about him about a year ago, and he told me like, look, he transferred in from Fordham. I didn't know this story about him. He was like, he's a super duper athletic version of Draymond Green. This is what his coach told me. And now, ironically, Golden State drafted him, and he looks like a super duper version of Draymond Green. So he's been surprising. Tyler Herro's been tremendous.
Yeah, a lot of people like him.
He's getting his own shot. He's terrific on the bounce. He has some toughness about him.
Yeah.
So I like him as well. So it's early. So don't jump on my.
No.
You're not.
You've done a good job.
I don't think you're that high on Zion.
Nope.
Now, obviously, he lit up the summer league. I mean the preseason. But go talk to us about your thoughts on Zion.
I'm in love with Zion, the athlete, but I'm not in love with Zion, the basketball player, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. There's a big difference between the two.
He's the type of guy,
okay.
If his explosion goes,
then what?
Yeah, he's going to be a role player.
Yes.
If he loses that explosion.
Yeah, but right now that explosion is one of a kind.
Right.
His power, his speed, just the way he attacks the basket. But give Coach Gentry some credit. He put him in positions to make those plays. They ran a lot of rub screens where you get Zion going downhill. He only needs one dribble, and he's exploding over guys. But like you said, if he loses that, then he has to become a basketball player. And his basketball skills hasn't caught up to his athleticism. So I love the athlete in Zion, but not the basketball.
How scary is it? I just want to ask this quick. How scary is it with, what is that, Chris? 3 knee injuries in the last, because he had one in high school?
Well, 4, that would be 4. High school, Duke, Summer League, and now this.
4.
Yeah.
That's 4.
That's how concerned would you be? I mean, that's a lot. It says something, doesn't it?
I'm a little concerned. I'm pulling for the kid. I want the NBA needs Zion.
Oh yeah,
we need him.
Well, they're
healthy.
on every night.
Yeah, every time we look up
because they thought he'd be playing.
We need him. And I hope he gets healthy. But you have to look. There has to be some type of concern in regards to the knees Is it a weight issue? Is it a power issue?
Well, let me ask you about the weight, because obviously you mentioned the power. I mean, the torque he puts on his body and all that. We saw it with Derrick Rose, who was half his size.
Right.
I have heard some say that, like, New Orleans means it when they say we're not trying to slim him down too much, because some people feel like if he loses too much of that weight and size, then he's not Zion, because that's part of his stuff is overpowering you, right?
Yes.
Where are you on that? Because I would think he's got to drop. I mean, Charles Barkley said he dropped about 45 pounds, I think. It looks to me like he's got to drop some serious weight. But do you think that would hurt him and they need to kind of leave him where he's at?
I think he's naturally strong already. But just looking at him, he looks 280. Just looking at him on TV.
And I think he's listed at
He looks 280. Yeah. If he can get to 255, I think he's still strong and powerful. But let's make it a math problem. You got 82 games a year. You jump 40 inches probably 6 times a game. Now, you do that year after year after year, it adds up. It becomes wear and tear on your body.
Oh, no doubt. And the other thing, too, is for him, it's easier when you're in the position where he is to lose weight, because now you have people cooking your meals.
Yes.
You can eat right. You know what I mean?
You eat right.
You're a structure. There's a lot more. You're not a college kid.
They can even make you some healthy gumbo or something.
Exactly.
I mean, really, because he's down there in Louisiana. Some vegan beignets, Alex, or something.
You could have a vegan ding dong.
He just needs to lay off the carbohydrates.
Yes.
He needs to have he should have a dietitian, a nutritionist,
and a cook.
A cook. He should have all of those things, and the Pelicans should pay for it.
No, I agree.
Because
it's a long-term investment.
He's their asset.
Yeah. All right, we got a nice little hot topic coming up next, but we all three had the same reaction when we heard Steve DeSager just say Kawhi is not playing tomorrow night's game against Milwaukee. And look, I think all of us are big-time Kawhi Leonard fans.
Yes. But
this is terrible. This is terrible.
It's unfortunate to the fans. It's unfortunate,
and not just Rashad, not just the 20,000 going to the Staples Center to see Zion. Kawhi go against Giannis, but us.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like. I want to watch that game.
Now, y'all was just talking about that.
I had a credential to go to the game, and I was going to, trying to leave this studio.
Because I wasn't going to go because it's the time,
but I was going to go down because I said I want to see in person. You know what I mean? Sometimes I like to go down and talk to people and see it. And now I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna make it.
I mean,
definitely because I want.
That's not good. They're gonna have to do something about that. I think about the kids. Like, if I'm a dad taking my son to the game on his birthday,
that's all he wants is that I want to go see
Kawhi versus Giannis, and then all of a sudden Kawhi is not playing. It's like, if you're hurt, okay, I totally get that. But if you're not hurt, look, man, like, I don't want to be that guy, but look, man, if you're making millions of dollars to play basketball,
no, it's true.
It's people spending their hard-earned money
who aren't making that kind of money and spending big money to go.
It really has to be like this, because we talked about it, Rob. Like, okay, if this is what you want, then you can sit out but without pay. And I know, look, in the grand scheme, I'm making $30 million a year. So what? I'm gonna miss one game. But if like, going in, like, there was talk that for Kawhi, this was part of the deal with teams. Like, he's gonna have his load management. Maybe your contract should be prorated.
And what did
I like that idea.
I like that idea. And look, they would make up injuries. I get it. Oh, he's got back.
But you're not supposed to make up. Like, doctors can't do that. But here's the other thing. You're going to start to have to print on the ticket scheduled to play. Seriously, like when they promote the game, what do they say? Come see Giannis and Kawhi.
It's their pictures. It's their pictures up there.
There are some people that get the 10-game package or something like that.
Based on that. Exactly.
This is definitely one of them.
Right.
And that's what I mean. Like, and then Elijah, our social media guru, told us about this thing where you can now pay, like, get insurance.
Fansure
to cover your marquee game that you want to go to. And if your favorite player that doesn't play,
they reimburse you.
They reimburse you the ticket. Now,
I like that.
I do too.
No, that's a smart idea.
That's a real smart idea, because it happens way too much. And you remember, the only reason the commissioner came down on the players, and then LeBron wound up playing every game the following year. You remember that? It's because ESPN and TNT balked and said, we're going to start asking for money back. Because you remember all those big primetime games, people were sitting out.
Hold on. Tomorrow's game's on ESPN. And
you think that they would be happy?
ESPN was upset, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Who didn't play? There was a game that ESPN got upset about when one of the stars sat out. Maybe it was Kawhi.
It was Kawhi in that game.
It was Utah, right? He sat out Utah and the Clippers.
But it was an ESPN game.
It was, and tomorrow's an ESPN game. So ESPN should make some noise.
You know how much money that they paid for the NBA?
Make some noise.
What do we?
They overpaid. They paid $1.3 trillion. That's why the salaries skyrocketed.
But they're not getting their money's worth. The stars are not going to play. I'm with you. You're hurt, and we all accept that.
Right.
Guys get hurt.
No doubt.
But to just say I'm not playing today because I don't want to play is not.
Look,
not
Adam Silver and the league. Remember last year it came out that they were talking about shortening the season. 60 games, something like that.
That'll never happen.
They want to do it. They do want to do
the
it.
money.
They're gonna lose the money though.
But what you can do? Hold on. If you play 60 NBA games, each game becomes that much more important and intense, like a college game.
I see that.
And you could eventually, and I think quickly, raise the prices. Now, you might not quite make up.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
You're saying.
What you lose in those 20 games or so.
Yeah.
But you could still begin to raise the price. But my thing is this. I know the players they want 82-game money, but 65-game responsibility.
Yeah, but the only problem.
that can't cut it.
But see, why it won't add up is the fans coming. You're talking about raising tickets. They don't pay for the league. This is the fans.
It's the TV.
It's the TV. So you're talking about
they're gonna lose TV deal. TV's gonna be like, look, half our big games they're not playing.
Right, but they're locked into this 8-year deal for now. But I'm just saying.
The next deal's not gonna be as high.
No, not like that.
That's why the NBA wants China and all that stuff.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, because that's the biggest problem is you could say try to make up some of it on the ticket prices, but you lose out on concessions, TV money, parking. It's less dates at the arena that you could go buy
everything.
Buy an $80 sweatshirt. You know what I mean?
And
also
all
that.
And also, let's think about the people who work as well. You
work there, right?
You taking food out of their
mouths. They don't have as many games.
Now it's like I usually cover 41 games, and now I'm only covering 30.
Right.
So
it makes a big difference.
So a lot of people everybody gets hit down the line. So you gotta. I don't think it's.
I think they're gonna push for it eventually.
Yeah, they'll try to push for it.
I've talked to some people there. I think they're gonna push for it, and I hope it happens. One, I just think it'd be more exciting. But two, I just don't think it's fair if you're not even gonna try to play. And I know you don't have to play 82, but 75. You sit out the last few games.
It's
whatever.
Early.
It's the freaking third week of the season.
It's early.
It's already twice you've sat out. And Kawhi, again, we all love Kawhi.
Yeah, absolutely.
But his body can't be that fragile. I'm sorry. The dude's big and strong.
Nah,
he's big and strong.
If he's doing it, why?
I told you, I'm always for the fan, and I think it borders on consumer fraud. I'm serious. Where you're buying tickets expecting to see somebody, and you show up, and all of a sudden they're not playing, but they're not hurt. I just don't think that's fair.
Anthony Davis was, obviously the Lakers are in Chicago today. And he was asked, somehow the conversation turned to what's the Mecca of basketball. Mm-hmm. And he said there is no doubt about it, Chicago is the Mecca.
Does he know that Michael Jordan wasn't born in Chicago?
He might not know that, right? He might
Does
have
he
been
think that Michael
was
born in Brooklyn?
There's a great argument for Chicago, though. Derrick Rose, obviously Isaiah Thomas.
Mark Aguirre,
Jabari Parker,
Terry Cummings.
Chicago
got some dudes.
Dwayne Wade. It's not New York.
Chris, you can't say that. How can you say it's not?
No, because nowadays it used to be.
But
I'm going to answer
your question. I was going to say
it used to be New York.
But it's the totality
they're
of it.
They're not producing players New Jersey is better than New York now. New Jersey, I can just say Kyrie Irving and Karl Anthony Towns.
Where's Kareem from? Where was Kareem?
Kareem?
But I'm just trying to say that.
Some years old.
I'm talking about when you talk about the list of guys who have played, of the legendary players.
But Rob, I said it used to be the Mecca. Dr. J, Kareem, Tiny Archibald, all that.
So back then.
Right.
But today.
Who's the last great player to come out of New York City? And a lot of them have had issues. That's really been Stephon Marbury, Lance
Lamar
Stevenson,
Odom,
Lamar Odom,
Ron
Ron
Artest.
All were really good, but never became what they could have been because of
So underachieved. So they
Sebastian
underachieved.
Telfair.
They underachieved to a degree.
And also, and Rashad, you can speak to this. The best players in the country now growing up, they're not playing on the playground anymore.
No.
They got personal trainers.
Prep
They're always in the
schools.
gymnasium. They're prep, right?
Yeah.
And New York, are they still playing street ball? I don't know. But they're not producing the players like they used to.
No, you look at New York, back in the day, they always carried the title as the Mecca of basketball.
And rightly so, back in the day.
And rightfully so.
Dr. J's from
New York
I
produced
could go on and on.
the best players. But when you look at it now, you look at California.
I think L.A. might be.
I would say
California.
I think California really. That's just my honest opinion. I think California is the Mecca of basketball right now today.
Seattle was great. The Seattle
they had a good run.
They had
a good run.
The Baltimore D.C. area has always been hot, and they still got Durant, Melo.
Do you count Melo? Melo was born in New York. He was born in Brooklyn.
No, but I don't mean
no,
born.
I'm just saying.
But no, it's
Rob
not boring.
using birth certificates.
Right. I'm
a
a claim Akron. LeBron, obviously, and Steph Curry, born in Akron.
Okay.
No, it's where you were reared, where you learned the game. Yes.
No,
yes.
Rob,
that's where it is.
That ain't how it goes.
You going with the birth
Stop it.
certificates?
I want to see birth certificates.
You talking about Jordan was born in Brooklyn, North Carolina.
Jordan and Mike Tyson were born in the same hospital in Brooklyn. How about
Really?
that?
How about this, though?
That's
Real
unbelievable.
talk. How about this? The best five, you're going to argue it, Rashad.
You know I am.
But I could make a strong argument that the best five young players, Ben Simmons, Australia, Giannis, Greece, Joel Embiid, Cameroon, Luka Doncic, Slovenia, is it? Is it Slovenia?
Slovenia, yeah.
And Nikola Jokic. I don't even remember what, but Europe, somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
Those are the best five young players in the world.
Yeah,
Now they're obviously from the world. They're not all from one country or continent.
You can't really dispute that because they're all they're all on the verge of being superstars.
And some of them
I think Luka Doncic is a superstar.
And Giannis is too.
But here's a question.
He's MVP
Here's a
of the
question
league.
for you, and you get around and you with all the camps and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Where are, and it was never like this, and even the players you mentioned, they're white players from foreign countries. Where are the white players that from the Indianas and that used to
Jimmer? Don't overlook Jimmer for
stop
that.
it. But you know what I'm saying? Like
No, I know what you're
it's
saying.
unbelievable.
Why are the white players from Europe better
right
than the white players
from the United States? Like I don't get it.
Well,
The NBA used to
I
have plenty of
theory.
white guys.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. We don't have too much time. Go ahead.
yeah, when you look at the European farm system, there's no college, so they play pro early. You look at Luka Doncic; he was a pro at 13.
Right.
He signed his first professional contract at 13. The average Caucasian player in America is not signing a professional deal at 13. So, right there, you got a European player that's getting paid, and a Caucasian kid here that's not getting paid. So,
But the white kids are playing major college basketball. They're on some of these teams. Even years ago, Tyler Hansbrough, everybody was going crazy over. I mean, there are guys who
think
but it's
personally-
less and less even now.
every year.
My theory is that in America, post Michael Jordan, the game became obsessed with quote unquote athleticism, running, jumping. Even if Stromile Swift had no skills, but he could run and jump.
That's a
Chris
good one.
Wilcox. I mean, we can go on and on. They became obsessed with that. So for a good 20 years, that was the game.
Yeah.
It was all about athleticism. And I think the white American players got caught up into that system. And for whatever reason, they can't compete on that level.
Right.
I would tell a white American kid, get your skills down. Get your fundamentals down. Like all the great white players, Larry Bird, Chris Mullin, John Stockton, Carl.
And there used to be a ton of them.
Kevin McHale. They have fundamentals and skills.
Yeah.
So get that down and then start playing with black players at a young age. And so you get used to the speed of the game, the jumping ability and all that. That's where Larry Bird was playing with black, players at a young age, and you get used to the way the game's played.
That's true.
But that's my theory. I think the game in America got away from the fundamentals, and white players got lost in the shuffle.
It's
but I
shocking.
think guys like Steph, I think now that the shooting is the way it is and the ball handling, I think that gives, there's more of an emphasis on that stuff now, and you might see more white
Man,
players
you're the
get into
best.
that.
Thanks for coming in for this hour, man.
Yoda.
Thanks for having me, guys.
That was Rob G, but I like that. if
Talk
you like
soon.
it.
Yes.
All right.
We'll see
Great
you
job,
soon,
brother.
always, man.
Yes. Hey, it's the Odd Couple. I'm Chris. He is Rob, and we want to encourage all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. You can listen to us on the radio, and now you can watch us as well, and it's fun.
No question about it. And remember, all